1959's Dyatlov Pass, the chilling dead mountain mystery. Think of a desolate, snow-swept mountain in the heart of Siberia. It's February 1959. 9 experienced hikers, students, and graduates of the Ural Polytechnic Institute set out for an ambitious ski trek. They were skilled, prepared, and brimming with youthful optimism. But somewhere on the slopes of Kholat Syakhl, the dead mountain in the local Mansi language, something went catastrophically wrong. Their tent was found shredded from the inside, their belongings untouched, and their bodies scattered across the icy wilderness miles from shelter. What followed was an investigation that baffled authorities and ignited a mystery that has endured for over 6 decades, defying most logical explanation. Welcome to the Dyatlov Pass, and tonight, we delve into one of the most chilling unsolved puzzles in human history. The group was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, a confident and capable engineering student. His team included 8 others: Zineta Kolmogorova, Lyudmila Dubinina, Alexander Klevetov, Rustim Slobodin, Yuri Krivonishenko, Yuri Doroshenko, Nikolay Thibobrignolis, and the oldest member, Semyon Zolotaryev. A 10th member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill with sciatica early in the journey and was forced to turn back. This decision undoubtedly saved his life, though it left him forever haunted by the fate of his friends. Their objective was to reach Otorten Mountain, a demanding Grade 3 route, marking them as experienced trekkers. They were fit, well-equipped for the Siberian winter, and full of camaraderie as evidenced by the photos and journal entries they left behind. Their journey began on January 25, 1959, with a train ride, followed by a truck and a final ski trek into the forbidding Ural Mountains. Initial days were filled with typical expedition challenges and joys, beautiful scenery, the biting cold, and the shared warmth of friendship around a campfire. By February 1st, they had made their way to the eastern slope of Kholat Syakhl. Instead of camping lower in the forest, Dyatlov, perhaps eager to make up for lost time or to begin an early ascent, made the fateful decision to pitch their tent directly on the exposed mountainside. They carved a platform into the snow, anchored their tent, and began preparing for the night. Their last photographs show them setting up camp, seemingly in good spirits, preparing dinner. The weather was harsh, as expected, with temperatures plummeting to -25 to -30 Celsius, accompanied by strong winds. This was their last known moment of normalcy. What transpired next plunged their expedition into an abyss of terror and ambiguity. When the group failed to return by February 12th, alarm bells didn't immediately ring. Delays were common, but by February 20th, with no word, a full-scale search party was launched. On February 26th, the searchers made a grim discovery: the tent. It was pitched incorrectly, half-collapsed, and astonishingly slashed open from the inside. Inside, all the hikers' belongings, clothing, food, journals, and cameras, lay untouched. It was as if the occupants had been forced to abandon their shelter in an extreme hurry, with no time to retrieve vital supplies or even proper clothing. The first 2 bodies, Yuri Krivonishenko and Yuri Doroshenko, were found a mile away near the edge of a forest beneath a large cedar tree. They were shoeless, dressed only in underwear, and showed signs of hypothermia. A small, extinguished campfire was nearby, suggesting a desperate, futile attempt to stay warm. 3 more bodies, Dyatlov, Kolmogorova, and Slobodin, were found between the cedar tree and the tent, seemingly trying to return to their abandoned shelter. Their positions indicated they had succumbed to hypothermia, but the true horror was yet to be fully revealed. The initial autopsies confirmed hypothermia as the cause of death for the first 5 victims. However, the discovery of the remaining 4 bodies 2 months later, buried under 15 feet of snow in a ravine, unveiled a far more disturbing picture. Lyudmila Dubinina, Semyon Zolotaryov, Alexander Kolevatov, and Nikolay Thibeaux-Brignoles had suffered horrific, unexplained injuries. Dubinina was found with her tongue, eyes, and part of her mouth missing. Zolotaryov and Thibeaux-Brignoles had major chest and skull fractures consistent with a powerful blunt force, described by one doctor as equivalent to a car crash. Crucially, there were no external wounds to indicate a struggle, no soft tissue damage, only internal crushing injuries. Adding to the enigma, some of the victims' clothes and even their skin showed traces of radiation. One victim was found wearing another's trousers, suggesting clothing was exchanged or taken from the deceased in a desperate attempt to survive. Their camp was tidy, indicating no struggle inside the tent, reinforcing the idea that they fled voluntarily or were forced out by something terrifying. The official Soviet investigation concluded only that a compelling unknown force caused the deaths, then abruptly closed the case and classified the files. This secrecy only fueled decades of speculation. For decades, numerous theories have tried to explain the inexplicable. The avalanche theory was a primary suspect. A sudden slab of snow could bury a tent, forcing hikers to flee. But the terrain wasn't steep enough for a typical large avalanche, and there was no evidence of significant snow accumulation. Crucially, the severe internal injuries didn't match being simply crushed by snow, and leaving all warm clothes defied common sense. The indigenous attack theory suggested the local Mansi people might have been involved. Yet, investigators found no tracks other than the hikers, and the Mansi's traditional weapons didn't align with the specific blunt force trauma. This was quickly dismissed. The military testing or secret weapon theory gained traction due to the investigation's secrecy, reported orange spheres, and radiation traces. Perhaps an experimental weapon or a blast wave caused the injuries. However, concrete evidence remains elusive, and the orange spheres could be rocket launches from Baikonur Cosmodrome, visible from afar. It remains tantalizing, but ultimately speculative. The infrasound theory posited that low-frequency sound, generated by extreme winds interacting with the mountain, could induce feelings of dread and panic. This might explain the hikers' irrational flight from the tent, cutting their way out in terror. But it struggles to account for the specific, severe internal injuries like Thibeaux-Brignoles' skull fracture or Dubinina's missing tongue, unless they fell great distances, which isn't fully supported for all victims. In 2019, Swiss researchers Alexander Puzrin and Johann Gaum revisited the avalanche theory, publishing a study that offered a compelling new perspective. They proposed a slab avalanche, a specific type where a block of consolidated snow slides down, rather than loose, powdery snow. Their analysis showed that the Dyatlov Pass slope, while not extremely steep, could accumulate such a slab due to katabatic winds, which compress snow. The tent itself, carved into the snow and weighted down, could have created a weakness in the snowpack directly above it, destabilizing the slab. Critically, the avalanche wasn't a massive, destructive flow. Instead, it was a delayed, small-scale event. The hikers, after settling in, might have triggered a small slab hours later, causing just enough force to partially collapse the tent and inflict the blunt force trauma on those inside. The unique internal injuries could be explained by the hikers being pinned against the hard, carved snow floor by the compressed snow slab, leading to severe chest and skull trauma without external marks. Panic would have ensued. In the dark, disoriented, and injured, they would have cut their way out, fearing a larger, more imminent avalanche. Their irrational decision to flee without proper clothing makes sense under extreme stress, especially if some were already injured and suffering from shock and hypothermia. The group likely split. Some, like Krivonishenko and Doroshenko, made it to the cedar tree, desperately attempting to light a fire. Others, including Dyatlov, attempted to return to the tent, hoping to retrieve essential supplies before succumbing to hypothermia. The final 4, perhaps more severely injured by the initial slab, sought shelter in the ravine, hoping for protection from the wind. But they eventually succumbed there, trapped and dying, their bodies subsequently buried deeper by further snow accumulation. The missing tongue of Dubinina, likely post-mortem scavenging by animals common in such remote areas, once the bodies were eventually exposed. The radiation, likely from their camping lantern using thorium, or from natural sources in the Urals, not necessarily a military cover-up. While this modern avalanche theory, bolstered by scientific modeling, provides the most comprehensive and plausible explanation to date, it doesn't entirely strip away the mystery. The specific timing of the slab, the precise sequence of injuries, and the individual decisions made in those final, terrifying hours remain largely speculative. What was the final terror they experienced that drove them from their tent? Was it purely the avalanche, or did the onset of hypothermia and disorientation play a role in their increasingly desperate decisions? The Dyatlov Pass Mystery reminds us of humanity's vulnerability in the face of nature's unpredictable power and the terrifying chain reactions that can unfold from a single, ill-fated decision. Their tragic end on the Dead Mountain continues to echo through history, a chilling testament to a night where 9 souls vanished into the cold, leaving behind a puzzle that may never be fully, definitively solved. Thank you for watching. If you have your own theories about what happened at Dyatlov Pass, share them in the comments below. If you'd like more deep dive investigations into unsolved mysteries and forgotten history, please like this video, subscribe, and tap the notification bell. Your support helps the channel grow.